good gravy, Marie. Sweet Christmas. And by the beard of Zeus. Ladies and gentlemen, my God. My sweet nerdy God. Second stream of the day, an emergency stream. Crazy DC news breaking. I don't think it's crazy to say that they have found their Kevin Feige. DC has found their Kevin Feige. And it's two people, which is probably the right move. And there's a lot to get into. I haven't even gone over this full article. I've just seen what's been going on with social media and sort of the reaction. And so I was like, honestly, man, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I was going to take a power nap. I was lying in bed ready to take a power nap before I play Commander with the homies later tonight. And I was like, nah, this shit's way too crazy. We've got to talk about this. We've got to at least react about it. I'm sure that, more things will come out in the next few fucking hours, to be honest. And even tomorrow, we'll probably get more clarity on what's going on. There's a poll in the chat right now, and I really do want to know if you guys think this is a W or not. I have already seen a lot of people pretty upset about it online, which is interesting and to be expected. I want to give my thoughts on it. I have like sort of a raw reaction on what I think as far as Gunn handling the creative. I don't know anything about Safran, and honestly, the business side of it's probably just keep it cheap for the next couple of years. You know what I mean? And we're going to get into the context of like Universal possibly buying it. Like there's just so much going on. Like, did The Rock lose? Like what's going on with all of this, right? We'll break it all down. But there's one thing above all other things that I think this means for DC's future, at least in the next couple of years. And we'll talk a lot about that as well. I'll just tell you right now, I think this means that you will get a crisis in the next couple of years. And I'll circle back to that idea later on, because that's kind of what I see coming out of all of this. But yeah, so vote in the poll. Let us know. Right now, it's like 90% of people think this is a dub. And let's get into it. Let's check out the article together. We'll go through it and see what we can glean from it. Oh, come on, man. All right, boom. Okay, DC shocker. Yeah, I'll frickin' say. James Gunn, Peter Safran to lead film, TV, and animation division. This is an exclusive from The Hollywood Reporter. The duo will report to David Zaslav and assume the title of co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios. Like, this is kind of wild because, we did hear that this was what Zaslav wanted to do. At least this was the talk that he was having, out there. He wanted it to be a lot like Marvel Studios. Now it's literally DC Studios, like its own thing. And these two gentlemen will have complete creative and business control of this division when it comes to television and when it comes to movies. But let's get into the actual article here. The hierarchy of power in the DC universe really is changing. Yo, bro, tell me that's not a shot at The Rock. Come on, man. Put a 1 into the chat if you think that's a shot at The Rock. I definitely think that that's colorful language. In a stunning turn of events, filmmaker James Gunn and producer Peter Safran have been tapped to lead DC Films' TV and animation efforts as co-chairs and co-CEOs of DC Studios, a newly formed division at Warner Bros. That will replace DC Films. They didn't put Warner Bros. Discovery. It's interesting. The unprecedented move in which a top director will assume a top executive post marks the end of a months-long search by Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav to replace DC film boss Walter Hamada, who departed the studio last week. That search had all of Hollywood guessing and playing executive bingo for who would land the role of the most coveted and challenging jobs in town. In the recent weeks, Gunn and Safran were spotted on the Warner Brothers lot meeting with Warner Film co-chair Michael DeLuca about the future projects. I know there was some like rumblings of DeLuca actually just taking this job like completely. Definitely doesn't appear that that's happening. And according to sources, the initial overture to Safran and Gunn came from DeLuca over the summer, even as the studio was in shaky talks with producer Dan Lin. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So they like kind of approached them early on, huh? Gunn will focus on the creative side of things, while Safran will focus on the business and production side. Both are expected to continue to direct and produce projects respectively. That's pretty interesting. So Gunn, I mean, dude, did Gunn just do all of this just so he's like making sure Peacemaker doesn't get canceled? Like, it's kind of wild. But they're saying that, yeah, he's going to continue to make shit and also run all of creative. Interesting, dude. Really interesting. They will report directly to Zaslav and work closely with Warner's film bosses DeLuca and Pamela Abdy. Sources say the deal runs for 4 years. And Gunn will be exclusive to DC. The goal is for them not to just be producers, but to truly function as executives, even as Gunn will occasionally hone a movie. Damn, that's really interesting. Okay, so 4 years. If it gets signed by the end of the year, I'm assuming that will be the case. You're looking into 2026. You're looking at 2026 being the last year, and looking at possibly a contract extension. This also means that in the middle of this tenure, it is possible that they all have new bosses, right? If this Universal NBC thing happens, which a lot of people are talking about, I mean, maybe it doesn't happen, but that's kind of the talk, right? So it seems like the 4 years will go to 2026. In 2 years in, they might get new bosses, but it kind of seems like this is a much better like runway for them to kind of land, even if NBC Universal wants to go do something else, right? It also means Gunn will be done at Marvel after this next Guardians movie. I think he likely was going to be that anyways. Yo, is Trinity in the chat right now? Trinity, if you're in the chat, let me know, because Trinity's actually been calling this for a long time. I think actually several Nerdvengers have been saying that Gunn could take this position. Really interesting. Okay, so let's keep going here. Unlike Marvel Studios, DC has multiple films set in separate creative universes, and according to the sources, Joker filmmaker Todd Phillips' work on the upcoming sequel, which goes into production later this year, will not fall under Gunn and Safran's purview, and instead will be overseen by DeLuca and Abdy. Matt Reeves, who worked under Hamada, has a budding universe based on his The Batman movie. It is unclear under whose purview Reeves' future projects would fall, but everything else moving forward would be under Gunn and Safran. That is so interesting. This, of course, makes me think back to the article we talked about last week. I think it was actually last Tuesday. There was a huge article in the trades about all the exciting stuff that's coming from DC, and they literally kind of talk about this. They talk about Gunn. I think it was even Gunn and Rock, the pictures on the article, right? They talk about, like, Rock, what he wants to do. They talk about Gunn, his sort of thing. They talk about Matt Reeves stuff. Incredibly interesting. The goal for them is not just be produced. Oh, we already read that one. Okay, DC has among the most entertaining, powerful, and iconic characters in the world, and I'm thrilled to have the singular and complementary talents of James and Peter joining our world-class team and overseeing the creative direction of the stories of the DC Universe, says Zaslav in a statement. Damn. Their decades of experience in filmmaking, close ties to the creative community, and proven track record thrilling superhero fans around the globe make them uniquely qualified to develop a long-term strategy across film, TV, and animation. and take this iconic franchise to the next level of creative storytelling. Gunn is one of the more respected minds in the world of comic book filmmaking. He came up in indie film space and became an A-list director in 2014 with Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy and its 2017 sequel. He jumped to DC in 2018 to develop the Suicide Squad after rival Marvel fired him. I wonder if that is... It's just... Yeah, we'll talk about that too. As the director of Guardians Volume 3, the studio later reinstated him, and the project is due out in May 2023. His DC foray, The Suicide Squad, was critically adored, but spawned the hit HBO Max spinoff Peacemaker. It didn't really make a lot of money either. Starring John Cena, Gunn is currently working on a second season. Safran came up as a manager where Gunn was among his clients and is fully enmeshed in the world of DC as a producer of the $1 billion grossing Aquaman and its upcoming sequel, as well as Squad, Peacemaker, and Shazam. Its sequel. His relationship with Warner extends back 10 years and includes $2 billion Conjuring horror franchise. That's aimed at Wall Street. They're like, just here's some numbers. Fucking please stop destroying our stock. The Safran Company recently re-upped its production deal with Warner's. Cool. Gunn and Safran will work with top execs at Warner Bros. Discovery, including TV boss Channing Dungey, HBO and HBO Max's Casey Bloys, U.S. Network Group Chair Chief Kathleen Finch, Consumer Products, bunch of people. Cool. We're honored to be the stewards of DC characters we've loved since we were children, Gunn and Safran said in a statement. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers and directors and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe that it still allows for the individual expression of the artist involved. Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Harley Quinn, one of these things is not like the other, by the way. That would be Harley. And the rest of the DC stable of characters is only equaled by our commitment to the wonderful of human possibilities these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as we tell some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories ever told. Damn! Yo, that's a pretty fucking good statement. That's a pretty good statement. Give me your score for that statement in the chat out of 10, man. That's a damn good statement. I'm tempted to read through that again. Holy hell. You know what? I'm reading it again. We're honored to be the stewards of these DC characters we've loved since we were children. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe that still allows for the individual expression of the artists involved. Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Harley Quinn, and the rest of the DC stable of characters is only equaled by our commitment to the wonder of human possibility these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as we tell some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories ever told. Now, they're talking the talk. Okay? They're talking the talk. We'll see if they can actually walk the walk, but damn! That is a strong statement. The move comes at a seismic moment for DC, which for the past 4 years has been led by Hamada under the DC Films banner. The executive departed amid friction with the new Warner's leadership under Zaslav, who made the controversial decision to axe HBO Max-bound film Batgirl in August and has vowed to reshape DC with a 10-year plan to seek to compete with the rival Marvel Studios. Even though Zaslav talked about finding a Kevin Feige-style executive over the summer, the team started looking at emulating the Pixar model. Interesting. I'm going to sneeze. The Pixar model, in which you have producers and filmmakers working as executives that has never been tried in the live-action space. DC released Black Adam over the weekend, which stars Dwayne Johnson and featured Superman actor Henry Cavill's return to the DC Universe. And next up has Shazam! Fury of the Gods out in March. As for Gunn's future at Marvel, there have been talk that he could continue on in some form after the conclusion of Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. However, today's news, which comes hours after Marvel touted its upcoming Gunn-directed Guardians holiday special, that's true, I didn't even think of that shit, seems to have closed the door on his chapter in the MCU. Here's a quick thought on that. Do you guys think it's possible that Gunn did the holiday special and Guardians 3 kind of in such a small time frame because he knew this might happen and he knew he might kind of be riding off into the sunset, so he just wanted to like get a few Marvel things out? Because I assume he likes making Marvel content. I mean, I'm sure he's harbors a little bit of bitterness towards what happened when he got fired or whatnot. But, regardless, maybe that has something to do with this, right? The hiring is effective November 1st, okay, and comes as DeLuca and Abdi have been making creative decisions and overseeing post-production on everything from The Flash to Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, since taking over their post in early July. We could not be more excited to have James Gunn and Peter Safran join the team and assume the leadership of the DC Universe, DeLuca and Abdi said in a statement. James is a brilliant filmmaker and storyteller, and Peter is a tremendously successful and prolific producer. And to have them both committing to work together to forge this new era of DC is a literal dream come true. We all share a very similar sensibility and passion for the universe, and the stars couldn't have aligned any better. We can't wait to get started, dig in, and collaborate with these unmatched creative minds. Damn, bro. Damn. This feels big, dude. This feels big. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna, auto work out. Right? But it feels big. And I also think that it's really interesting. We're at Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It's Tuesday. And we've had a Marvel fire, a bullet, a DC bullet. You know what I mean? We had the Wakanda Forever, or rather the Ant-Man 3 trailer, and then you've got the Superman news. It's like bam, bam, right? Today, you have James Gunn holiday special, bam, and then you've got this news firing off from DC. It's very interesting. This is a time where, at least on the level of sort of hype and earned media and social media discussion, I guess the sort of, what do they call it? There's a word for it. The penetration, of the news. DC is at least on the same level of Marvel right now. It's crazy. And the other thing that's weird is, we talked about how there's probably no Doctor Doom post-credit scene in Wakanda Forever now, right? And that's a little bit of an L. Kind of seems like, do you think DC is, beating Marvel 2 days in a row? Because I would argue the Superman news is bigger than even that Ant-Man trailer. And I absolutely love Ant-Man. I love Kang. I'm excited about that shit. Got a crazy video coming out tomorrow about it. But it literally feels like the Superman news is bigger, right? And then today, the Guardian special looks dope, but I'm not even gonna cover that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna do a video on that shit. And we're live now, talking about this, dude. I don't know, man. I think this is a cool sort of windfall moment, and it's possible that DC could sort of sweep up some momentum, Ironically, I think one of the things that sort of stands in their way is a very vocal, divided fan base, and I think that just a lot of people. Let's get to the article here. Let's just literally look at what people are saying, okay? So you got the Hollywood Reporter. This dude's excited. This dude says, my sympathies are with the Snyder fans having aneurysms over this. Interesting. Did we just lose? I think that's a Marvel thing. Okay, this guy says, seriously, from a Marvel tone director. Seriously? No way. A remind about the box office of his Suicide Squad and Peacemaker? My gosh. Listen to us. We want Zack Snyder back. Listen to us. Yeah. I mean, they're not listening. It's pretty obvious, right? This guy's holy W. I also love this meme format. Didn't know this was a thing, but I like it. And then, more people going at the Snyder fans. Snyder cultists in shambles right now. This is horrid news. What the actual fuck? Bring back Zack Snyder. That's funny, dude. Do you see what I mean, though? This is the state of affairs for DC right now with their own fans. I don't know. You know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see how it pans out, I guess. So, what do we think? What do we think about James Gunn taking over? Let me give you kind of my personal take on all of this, okay? And this is what's weird. I'm actually not a big fan of James Gunn's writing and directing style. I like Guardians 1 a lot, but I really don't like Guardians 2, and I feel like Guardians 2 is like just a little too much James Gunn. It's like it's like unabated James Gunn, right? Let me sip my fucking water. Hang on. I didn't like the Suicide Squad. Didn't like it. I didn't like Peacemaker. Literally stopped watching it. Okay? So his personal style is not really... It doesn't really jive with me. I don't really like it. However, you know, you look at some of the things he's trying, and just as a comic book fan, like, for instance, going the route of Starro. Like, dude, I never thought in a million fucking years we'd have Starro in a big superhero movie. I thought it was dope. Now, I also think that if James had full license for that shit, and we had Starro taking over the Justice League, and the Suicide Squad was trying to stop the Justice League with Starro shit on their faces, I'm telling you right now, that movie's way better. And I'd probably be able to, like, suffer through the sort of tonal James Gunnisms that I don't love because it's just so damn nerdy and dope. I think he gets it. You know, you look at what he did with the Justice League at the end of Peacemaker, and yeah, like the fish joke thing or whatever, like, you know, maybe some people thought it was absolutely horrible. But I look sort of more in this sense of, hey, man, he tried to do this really awesome thing for the fans and bring back the Justice League for the Peacemaker show. Like, that's kind of dope. Even though I don't dig his style, I got to give him props for that, right? I think he's a huge, sweaty nerd. I think that all the time he spent in Hollywood in general, but especially, like, over at Marvel Studios, I think he understands, maybe a little bit better than most, how you run a ship like that, how you collaborate, and, you know, how you bring all these individual visions into a system and sort of, you know, make it make sense. I also think that James Gunn understands culture. Like, I think he understands, you know, Twitter culture, Reddit culture. Like, he's been chiming in on scoops and on scoopers, you know, for a couple of years now at this point. Right? So he understands the culture. Like, I feel like he's in it. And I feel like, as opposed to a lot of different executives coming at it from a place of being a big sweaty nerd, understanding the culture, you know, comes sort of the hope that he would be more communicative with the audience, be a little bit more open and honest, and actually discuss things, you know, with the audience. So, like, in that regard, I think as an executive, I'm kind of excited about the possibility. You know what I mean? Like, legitimately, I'm excited about that possibility. But of course, like, there's all sorts of concerns. I don't want, like, a James Gunn flavored dceu, like, for it to all be like his vibe. You know what I mean? Like, of course, things need to be serious. Things need to have a dark tone. And just in general, like, again, like, I'm not the biggest fan of his style, right? But I don't think that he would be so stringent. You know, if you look at in that article, I think in the joint statement they make, and it also feels like somewhat of a shot at Marvel, right? Where's it at? That will still allow for the individual expression of the artists involved. Like, that feels like a subtle kind of Marvel shot, and also like this acknowledgement of, no, we're gonna let people, like, kind of do their thing. In that regard, like, I think James isn't going to come to a Matt Reeves and say, like, what if you threw a few dick jokes in there? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's a big dub. Here's the other thing. This is the last, like, sort of big point that I'll make on this, and then I'll open it up to, like, Q&A, and we'll, like, talk about, like, what you guys all think and everything, okay? Here's my last thing. Especially with where we're currently at, facing down the probably NBC Universal buyout, a lot of fans being divided and just things being what they are, I think James is the perfect person to shepherd the plan they already had. Okay, where's Big Stevie at? Because Big Stevie somehow ended up being right, because I think that plan that they had at DC Fandom in 2019 to set up all this stuff and then do a crisis movie to bring it all together. I think James Gunn, because he must have been privy to that plan and understood what they were trying to do, maybe even advised them. I think James Gunn is the perfect person to shepherd the next few years leading into a crisis movie. And right now, like, if you don't know, you're going to figure it out pretty quick that it's literally all about Secret Wars. That fucking all of Hollywood and everything in culture is going to start to revolve around Secret Wars, and Secret Wars is going to be this next, like, giant, like, North Star of pop culture. Like, that shit's going to happen, okay? And the Crisis Plan is its own version of that. And I don't know if it'll be as good. I don't know if Secret Wars will even be as good as I want it to be. But I think that it's smart for DC to kind of just wedge into their own fucking version of that, because at this point, it's going to maybe be sloppy for Marvel either way. So maybe it's going to be sloppy for DC, and it can just straight up work, right? I don't know. So that's kind of my last thought on it, is like, I think DC, if they want to do this right, they've got to go big. They've got to go for the crisis. They got to go for the multiverse and do it right alongside Marvel, and do what DC and Marvel have been doing for the past 70 years. And that's kind of copying each other and trying to one-up each other and being, kind of underhanded with the shit. It's awesome. It's a part of the charm of comics. So fuck it, dude. Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's go bowling. Now, let's get into the Q&A. Let's see what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think, okay? So I'll go through the super chats. I'll go through the member chats, and we'll hang out in the chat. Give me 1 second. Okay. Holy banana nut muffin. Holy banana nut muffin. Okay. Christopher says that he's not a fan of Gunn because of the jokes. Yeah, I understand that. I think that is true for some people, but I gotta be honest, I think it's a pretty small portion of people. Okay, Orange Grove 55 says, smart moves in that DC will have one creative, one financial person. They fool Walt Disney plus Roy. That creativity finance duo works very well historically. Yeah, good point. And also, it's kind of crazy because, of course, I have to reference Star Wars and what's going on with Star Wars. Why can't they do something like this with Star Wars? Like, why can't they let Dave run creative and let somebody else run the business stuff? Especially because James is still going to make shit, dude. Like, if they're going to let James actually make stuff and they're going to allow him to be executive and also direct and like, produce stuff, why can't they do that with Dave? You know what I mean? Like, I think this is... And again, I want to make this other point here because a lot of people are like, they get so butthurt when I say that, like, we need new blood and KK needs to step down. But, like, this stream right here and this news in general is, like, exactly what I'm talking about. It's case in point. Because right now, there's so much excitement and energy behind what this means. And it might not mean actually that much shit's changing. But it's like so significant that it like sort of reinvigorates. Like they said, they want to reinvigorate shit. It's like that sign under new management, right? So again, I really think Star Wars should take note at like what DC is currently doing. As crazy as that sounds. Graham says, feels like Marvel and DC are in a cold war right now. I actually think this is a massive W for them. Someone with a vision and direction, regardless of how tonally his movies are. Yeah, I actually agree. That's the way I see it as two. As two? Yeah, that's the way I see it as two. Fems says, Gunn's direction is mid, but he is a sweaty nerd, so W. Interesting. Aaliyah says, The Rock is silent about this thus far? Telling? Whoa. Has he not chimed in at all? Wow. Okay. I mean, maybe. Has he not chimed in at all? Somebody check The Rock's socials and let me know in chat. The Rock could be working out. That's true. Doesn't he do most of his socials from the workout anyway, though? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure he'll make a statement. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think this is bad for The Rock? I mean, it means he's not going to get full control, right? But to me, I think James would be very open to Henry Cavill Superman. You know what I'm saying? And why wouldn't you make another Black Adam? Shit was dope, you know? So I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Kang and Wasp are siblings. Hank Pym, no, I don't think so. A Curly Ray says, as long as there is not a lot of comedy, I'm fine with them running DC. And James Gunn also worked with Zack Snyder before. They're friends, dude. They are legitimately friends. That's why James Gunn wanted to put the Justice League at the end of this shit, including Ben Affleck. Yeah, I don't know. Low key, I shouldn't have made that bet about my hair and Zack Snyder, because now that James is running things, it's possible Zack comes back. I can't believe it. Please don't come back, Zack. I like my hair. Kyle says, 5:30 stream is good for the soul. Amen, man. I'm happy that you're here. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to do like a bonus stream, man. You know, I missed a couple streams here and there in the past couple of weeks, so I was like, nah, let's just do it. Jules Garcia says, was waiting to see a reaction, Josh. Well, wait no more. Hope you weren't holding your breath. Chase Floyd says, I'm 31 years old. Why does this nerdy stuff still get me bricked, Josh? I don't know. I think for me, you know, I'm just kind of like a kid at heart in a lot of ways still. And I've never really let go of that side of my life. And we're all just on this crazy rock that's spinning around, this exploding bomb of fire. We have really no idea what any of this shit means. So I figure just have some fun, man, you know? And this shit breaks me up too. Nick D with a $10 holla says, what's the point of all this if the IP gets sold and rebooted in 2 years or so? Or do you think James Gunn kills it and they keep it going after the sale? That's the whole thing. It's a bet that... Look, here's the thing. I think after Zaslav announced all this shit that was kind of ambiguous, but was also like, we want a new DC and we want this 10-year plan and all that, right? I think it actually had the opposite effect of what he wanted. And I kind of made the argument that until we're clear on that, a lot of the movies that were coming out were kind of in like limbo. Like if he's going to reboot, and we're talking about Zaslav, not even like Universal, but if Zaslav is going to reboot, how are you supposed to sell The Flash? How are you supposed to sell Aquaman 2 and shit, you know? So to me, this is the best solution as far as like just kind of shepherding the next couple of years. So to me, even if the IP gets sold in 2 years, they might still look to reboot or do whatever, but they're also going to have 2 years of evidence of like what this regime has been able to do. And if there's an increase and if things feel good, normally when you like buy a company or whatever, you're not necessarily looking to like gut or reboot a thing unless it's not working. If it sort of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? If they can prove that they're doing really, really well, you know, that's kind of what it is. Jimmy Bone says, what's the TLDR of Crisis? So there have been many different crises. But essentially, Crisis is a multiversal DC story, often involving variants or like Earth 2 versions, Earth 3 versions of popular DC characters, right? One of the Crisis actually deals with a sort of evil version of the Justice League called the Crime Syndicate. And the evil version of Batman goes fucking crazy and decides to blow up the entire multiverse. It's like, it's wild. But there's a lot more to it than that. But essentially the TLDR is, it's like their version of Secret Wars. It's a story that they've done many different times in the comic books. It's usually a really awesome big event. They're doing one right now. I think it's called like Dark Crisis. So yeah, it's like that basically. Let us see here. Doc Dragon, 15-month member, says, wasn't the first Crisis event done to help fix a messed up comic book universe? Then doing one and try to fix the DCEU seems fitting. Okay, I'm picking up what you're setting down, man. Martin says, the $10 holla, that's very generous, says, until they do the Batfleck film, I don't care. So I honestly don't think you'll get a Batfleck film. But I do think you'll get Batfleck in Crisis. You know what I mean? So I think that the best bet for people that want more Ben Affleck Batman is Crisis. And I do think James Gunn is a good... It's like a solid pick, dude. Like, to do that, right? Andre says, member for 19 months, says, what you say if Rock made this possible from behind the scenes. By the way, smash the like button, you buttholes. I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about that. My read on the situation is that, no, it's more like Rock was trying to do a thing, Gunn was trying to do a thing, and it kind of seems like Gunn is going to be doing the thing, you know? So, I don't know. But there's no reason they can't work well together. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. We'll see. The Nerd Executive says, nerdy Hollywood content has really been doing it for me recently. Oh, hasn't really been doing it for me recently, but I'm enjoying the way the paths are looking for all things. Yeah, it's been a fascinating couple of weeks, dude. Like, not necessarily a bunch of dope content right in our face, right, as far as, like, the nerdy stuff goes, but it's been a fascinating couple of weeks as far as stories, even the Star Wars stuff about the sequel trilogy, Lindelof thing. Like, it's crazy, man. Things are wild right now. Yeah, things are wild. So let's get into the chat. Let's hang out in the chat for just a little bit. And then I'm going to get on out of here. We'll still be streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about Tales of the Jedi. Did Affleck really kill it as Batman? I am just so meh on him in that role. I mean, I absolutely love Batfleck. So, and I think a lot of people do. Batman is not a part of the connected universe, though. That's true. But he could show up in Crisis. Why not? Why not? Maybe The Rock should challenge Gunn to a steel cage match. Yeah, I don't know how that'll go. Rayumbo says, Gunn is a sweaty who loves the character, so I'm hyped. Crisis would be dope, but a Crisis event is a revolving door. You just go Crisis to Crisis. It's true, but you got to find a way to make that old lemon have a fresh squeeze. You know what I mean? Batfleck should be DCEU Batman. I mean, I agree with you. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. More like Fat Fleck. Hey, you don't say that. I love the Batman. It was the best version of Batman we got since Christian Bale. I don't know if I agree, but okay. Batfleck was a great take on an aging Batman. I agree with that. I just want to see what happened to Batfleck's Robin. Fair point. But what does this mean for Dr. Doom being in Wakanda Forever? I don't think he is in Wakanda Forever, dude. I hope the next fresh squeeze is Star Wars. I would love it. I would love it. Yeah, Mike, I don't know, brother. I don't know. What are they doing over there, right? The best of all, this is the giant kick in the balls DC gave Marvel for the news cycle. Guardians trailer, that's cute. Fair. Guardians special, Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Black Panther, Over the Batman any day, bro. I agree. The best part of this was all... Oh, wait, no, we already read that. Do you think Marvel is done? Clearly, they are stretched too thin and drop in quality. It's just insane. I hope Panther and anime can bring back some respect to Marvel. Yeah, so I've been talking about this a lot. Been doing a lot of videos on this. But yeah, I think that Marvel recognizes some of the problems. And, you know, I always talk about Phase 2 and how Marvel had this, like, dip in quality and things were kind of rocky. And then they learned and pivoted and improved. I absolutely believe that the slowdown and a lot of these delays, and there might even be more delays, are to serve the quality of the product. You know what I mean? So I think Marvel is really going to take their time. I also definitely think Wakanda Forever is going to show that kind of quality and care. In a lot of ways, everybody just felt this sort of responsibility and, you know, to honor Chad, to, like, just really go for it on that one. So, like, I expect this thing to be, like, immaculate. And they made some changes to Ant-Man 3, and I like the changes a lot. So, yeah. Matei says, Gunn made my favorite DCEU film and a great show. And he's a nerd who loves DC. And Saffron produced some of the real bangers. So I see this as an absolute dub. I hear you, brother. I think it's a dub as well. XA says, what's your snap deck? Any advice? Try a bunch of different decks, especially if you're new, because you'll level up your cards and you'll learn the game really, you know, play something until it gets stale and then change it up, man. You know, that's my advice. Star Wars tomorrow. Yes, we're going to talk about Star Wars tomorrow. Now we just need Star Wars to get their act together. Wouldn't that be nice? Huge Zack Snyder fan and always will be, but this is excellent news. Gunn will right the ship. Any nice. Gunnar McStabby. How about that? Josh gets a W. Coin drop. I really don't see the value that James Gunn can add to the universe other than witty banter and dick jokes. Yeah, I think that that's an attitude that a lot of people will have towards this news. And honestly, I don't necessarily blame people for feeling that way because of his sort of directing style. But I think he actually has a lot of the tools that I would personally want out of an executive. And I mean, yeah, dude, like I hear you. I don't really like his stuff, but I'm excited for him to get this job. And I do think DC's better off with him at the helm than a lot of other people that could have taken it, for sure. Palp might be in next episode. Yeah, right, bro. Believe it when I see it. Funny how 2 days in a row Marvel drops a trailer and DC drops big news. I know, right? Isn't it crazy? Just downloaded Snap. Looking forward to playing. Yo, it's fire. It's a great game. As big as Marvel has become, should Feige have a co-CEO? I think it's maybe, but right now we don't have enough evidence to knock him down. I mean, Phase 4, despite definitely having its problems, still performed very well, especially by like just straight numbers. Box office was pretty solid on a lot of those movies, and the ones that weren't have like a asterisk next to them because of the pandy. So I don't think you can do that yet. I hope the slowdown just improves things enough. Yeah, Marvel hasn't even gotten to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four yet. Very good point. Very, very good point. Just got here. He is also going to be able to ask Feige for advice. That's true. That's absolutely true. And I've seen some people talk about this, maybe even in this stream. This does sort of open the door to an eventual DC Marvel crossover. I think James Gunn and I think Kevin Feige would be absolutely up for it. But DC has to get their... They need to get their mojo back a little bit before something like that could be really compelling. What up, Josh? Happy I made a live stream. Finally! Hey, man, it's good to see you. JLA Avengers. Yeah, man. It'd be pretty interesting. Twould be pretty interesting. The Rock is still silent? Rock, you gotta say something. Could Disney buy DC? Nah, not really. I mean, occasionally there presents itself a way that could happen, but no, not currently, no. Mm-hmm. Show us your tits for science. Nah, dude. I got like dad bod tits now. They're all droopy. Like an orangutan. So no. Dakota Ev, welcome to the Nerd Ventures at the prime level. Appreciate you. Just heard the news. I'm hype AF. Nice, dude. Nice. We still want to see them. No. Those are the best types. Give me a black eye with them. Wait, what? Pause. If Disney buys DC, we're all screwed. I mean. Yeah. Henry Cavill Superman meets Chris Evans Captain America. Ben Affleck Batman, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. Instant money maker. I mean, that would put some butts in some seats, I tell you. I tell you what. Would be pretty cool. Does this mean Gunn is the one who negotiates with Cavill? Quite possibly, yeah. Or Safran, really. But yeah, both of them probably oversee the decision. So, like, basically, yeah, I think basically, yeah. DC has the capability and characters to match Marvel. Marvel just beats them to the punch. I mean, Marvel's been crushing them for years. But DC has still done okay at times. But, dude, the way that they've navigated the last couple of years especially has been, like, mind-numbingly bad. You know what I mean? Stand up, show shirt front and back. No, you don't say that. Ooh, nice Bismo. Way to go, bruh. It's actually still the Snyderverse because of Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and his visions. Do you think they recast the Justice League? No, I don't think so. Why would they? Get to Crisis with this group. I think you can do it. Gunn is a big sweaty. Way better than the suits. Big W. Yeah, I agree. James Gunn and Kevin Feige, take my money. Josh doesn't need it anyway. Wait, what? In what world am I better off than James Gunn and Kevin Feige? Come on, man. It depends, Mike. Really gotta like it before I dive in. I'm missing the context. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta go. Just wanted to kind of jump in, do like an emergency stream, and talk about this. So let me know your thoughts if you're watching this later on. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll come back to this vid and sort of check out the comment section. Much love to you all. I appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll touch base on this a little bit more as well, but we'll really just be focusing on Tales of the Jedi. Dave Filoni, Star Wars!